Here we are with another no frills case from Cooler Master. Hey, don't be deceived, okay? This case is bigger than it actually looks and feels. But is it really good? Because the NR400 isn't really the newest. But today is gonna be the day where we break those myths of saying what new is always better. Alright, let's find out. Hey guys, this is Chester here. You guys are watching our channel right here at Chester and Unboxing. Before we continue, it would really mean a lot to us if you really help to like our videos and share them, because as a channel we are still growing, so we really support it if you guys can help to share our videos as well. Alright, moving on to this product we're going to be unboxing today. This is the Cooler Master Master Box NR400. So what is this box? Okay, this is a mini tower. Mini tower generally is for motherboard cases, motherboard sizes. So for example, mini micro ATX, your MATX, and your mini ITX. So this is classified under mini tower, so that means that it's actually quite compact in size, which I personally love. So this is just the packaging outside. Nothing really too fancy. As you can see, this case is really designed to be no frills, which means that whatever you're gonna get, and you don't really get a lot of extra things, like for example RGB. Yeah, I know that a lot of people, like, you either love or hate RGB, but I'm one of those people that likes RGB to be a bonus. But oh well, let's open it up. The Master Box NR400 applies optimal cooling and expandability to a minimalistic, subtle design. With thermal capability at the forefront of features.
No! God, please, no!
Yeah, thank God this system wasn't loaded. Anyway, yeah, if you didn't know, you rub this kind of things, you build up static electricity, especially in a dry room like this. So, yeah. One thing I like to note is I like the good thing about their packaging. So it is actually, it is pretty firm. I would say that firm to the point that you can tell that it will absorb shocks pretty well. Okay, I'm not gonna rub it because it's just gonna destroy the mic. But yeah, it's pretty good quality. Just want to point it out. Okay, so we are done with it, and that's the end of the video. We'll see you guys next time. No, I'm just kidding. Relax, don't run. Included in the box, right, you're gonna get the case itself and the instruction manual, which is actually quite important because not all cases are created identically. So sometimes some cases might differ in the way you install them. So you must make sure you check upon this, because Cooler Master is actually one of the companies that will give you a step-by-step guide on how to install your hardware. And they even tell you the amount of screws and everything. So it's actually quite useful for you to hold on to this manual. Okay, so you'll also find an accessory box down with every case. Duh. So before that, let's talk about the main exterior functions of it first. So you have the power button. I love the sound. Yeah, and then you have the reset button. Okay, both of which have sound. Yeah, and then you have, I realized the camera can't see, oh my god. So let me repeat that again. You have the power button, you have the reset button, you have two USB-Cs, and you have a single microphone and earpiece, headphone microphone combo jack out. That is 3.5 millimeters, yeah? Okay, so let's go to the front first. What am I doing? Let's take a look at the dimensions of the case first, starting with the length. The length, it is about 40 millimeters, that is about 16 inches. The width, it is about 21 cm, that's about 8.5 inches. The height, okay, it is about 40 cm, so 40 cm is about 16 inches. So actually the height and the length is almost identical. Okay, so down to the front of the case. Oh my god, I love it. Okay, if you can see from the second camera, right? I love how simplistic and uniform the layout is. Okay, but immediately there's one gripe I have with it. Because when I run my finger down, oh, okay, never mind. I wanted to say that there's actually a part here that was dented outwards, but then I kind of like, it back in. So hey, case closed. So there's actually another variant of it. Yeah, I watched Loki. Hey, variant. So there's another variant of this case with a disc with a 5.25 inch CD drive. So if you want that, then they'll have a cutout here lah. Okay, but I choose not to have that because we are living in what year already? Why you still need to drive? If you need to install Windows, just use thumb drive lah. So that's the front for you. The top that I already mentioned. And yeah, the top has your fan. The top has your fan grills and everything, which we'll talk about that soon also. There is a dust filter included, a magnetic dust filter at the top, which is inside. I believe they put it separately. Okay, another dust filter is at the bottom also, so more about that later. Okay, so very simplistic overall. Okay, on the other side, nothing, plain. On the left, I can't really say left or right because like it's depend on the camera. So yeah. So on the one side, okay, you have your tempered glass and this is very tough. Be right back. Nani? Okay, on the one side where the glass is, okay, you have your tempered glass. So you remove it by sliding it out. Okay, and yeah, pretty solid. But one thing to note is the glass does not extend to the entire side of the case. So it's just going to be like that. It's not a full coverage. Since we already opened it, so let's take a look at the internal. Before that, take a look at the rear of the case. I don't want to keep jumping around. Later we got to play some skipping rope because we keep jumping around. Okay, so the rear of the case has the fan, small grills. I believe it's good for airflow. 4 expansion slots, and this is your power supply slot. Okay, that's about that. Talking about expansion, so just now we mentioned the rear has 4 expansion slots, right? In terms of hard drive support, hard drive. What year are we living in? In terms of drive support, this case supports 3 3.5 inch drives. That's your typical desktop size hard drives, and it supports up to 4 2.5 inch drives. So that is your typical SATA based solid states or your small hard drives for like laptops, that kind. Why would you put a 2.5 inch hard drive in a desktop? I don't know, but hey, 你开心就好. So taking a look at the internal of the case, right? So like I mentioned, there is no RGB, and they really take this very seriously. There is no none. Okay. So there is 0 RGB in the entire case. The fans are not RGB. There is no RGB strips, nothing like that. So included is one fan at the front, that's 120 mils, and at the rear is also another 120mm fan, both of which I believe has no RGB. So I can confirm it by, there's only a single header, and that's your power. So the rear one has 3-pin power. The front is also 3-pin as well, but the front is connected to a hub, which I will explain in a short while. Okay, something I noticed when I opened the side panel, they actually have this is called, I believe, yeah. So they actually attach the your top filter over at the case, at the panel. So you actually put them here. Alright, so one good advice is try not to leave the filter on when you are transporting the case, because it's magnetic, it's not drilled, it's not secured. So if let's say you hold it accidentally, and yeah, you don't want the whole thing to drop because it's that easy to remove. Let's move on to the other side of the case. So this is where all the I/O panel, the wiring comes in. So yeah, so just now I was mentioning the front fan is actually an extension, which you can see here. It's not only an extension, it's actually a splitter. So you can actually connect, because the front supports multiple fans. We'll talk about compatibility in a short moment, but it gives you automatically one 3-pin to the motherboard, to 3 3-pin outs, so you can hook up to 3 fans using one header for the motherboard. But funny, I realized the one with the white color header, right, only has the black one only has 2-pin power. So I'm not sure if that affects. So if you all know if the PWM has only a 2-pin and it affects in some way or another, let us know so that we may also learn together as well, right? Since you are here, let's talk about the cables here. So at the front, so for your front panel, right, so it has your HDD plus minus, reset switch, power switch, and power LED plus and minus. Yeah, I don't understand why it's still freaking separated. I mean, at this point, right, I can safely assume that most motherboard connectors, the front panel, they are, their positioning is quite universal, right? I may be wrong, so please correct me if I'm wrong. So if they're universal, then just connect, just put this freaking together lah, freaking cable is so small. So this is your USB 1, USB 3, and this is your HD audio. Okay, so yes, this is the accessories cable like I've mentioned. Okay, so yes, included is a lot of zip ties, brackets for your hard drive because you don't want them to move around, and screws for both your radiator, your motherboard trays, standoffs, and also the motherboard. There's a screw for the motherboard, the adapter to the case itself. Okay, and couple of washers for the aforementioned hard drive brackets. I just want to forget about it. At the rear, this is actually your hard drive cage. So yes, this one you can fit up to 2. Yeah, I was saying earlier, right? Up to 3, 3.5, up to 4, 2.5. So your hard drive can live here, but this cage can actually be removed. Yeah, so if you flip the case around, so you can actually unscrew the hard drive cage if you want. So there's only one screw here, and it's a thumb screw, although it is very tight by default. This single thumb screw will remove your hard drive cage. So if you don't have any hard drives in your system, which actually a sizable portion of you already don't have because it's all M.2, you can just remove it outright, and then your power supply cable management will be much better to manage. Now it's time to talk about compatibility, and that's very important. Okay, so compatibility. In terms of fans, okay, the front of the case will support up to 320 millimeters or 240 millimeters. Pretty standard lah. Okay, the top will support up to 220 millimeters or 240 millimeters. That explains the double, because 140 they are longer, right? They are bigger. So you use this for 140 and you use this for 120. Okay, the rear will only support a single 120 millimeter fan. But one good thing I realized, and it's actually becoming more and more trendy among case makers, is that last time, right, the cases, the hole, the screw hole used to be like that, which means that the fan can only go in one orientation, which means that, like, for example, right, I give you the rear as a reference. So you can see the rear, right? You see this line? Yeah, so right now it is centered at the lowest position, so like that lah. Imagine my hand is where the fan is. Okay, so if let's say that my heat components are slightly higher, you want to optimize the airflow, you can actually install the fan higher up so that the path of air will be, parallel. It will be more optimized for the heat to move away. So it might seem a small thing, but it's actually quite important as components keep getting hotter and hotter. Alright, so in terms of radiators, right, we'll start from the rear first. So the radiator at the rear, definitely only a single 120 millimeter. At the top, it will support a 240 or a 280. That's a maximum. At the front, a 360 or a 280. That's the max lah. So you can put anything below that inside. Talking about the CPU coolers compatibility, so the max height that your processor cooler can support is 166 millimeter, 166. Okay, for your graphics card, it will support up to 346 mm. Okay, your power supply, okay, this is dependent on the cage, right? I was saying earlier. So if the cage is installed, your power supply will only be able to be maximum of 140 mm. Which is actually not a whole lot, yeah. But without the hard drive, right, Yeah. So yeah, without a hard drive, you can basically all the way lah. But if you want a number, it is 325 mm. So usually, I will recommend my stand is if you don't have a hard drive, I'll recommend you to remove the cage so that even if your power supply is small, there will still be more airflow, right? So you generally don't want things to clog, or you generally don't want dust to build up anywhere. So that's why the filters, that's why we do the cable management. So now it comes to the cons section. We've been talking about the cases, right? What's bad about the case? Number one, it has no RGB. Yeah, I understand that yes, to hit the price point, they have to take away extra features. So RGB was probably one of them. So yeah, a bit sad that there is no RGB. But number two is actually this case. The thickness is actually quite thin, especially at the grill area. Oh, am I eating? The grill area. All right. So you can actually, if you are holding it, so try not to put too much pressure at the grill area, because you will, because I've bent before, you will bend the steel. Okay. Yes, it's steel. It's not plastic. So try to hold at the, where it's reinforced. Try not to hold at these areas where you can see it's already flexing already. See? It's already flexing. With all that's being said, I think this case is a solid case for anybody who wants to build a micro ATX or a mini ITX case system in, purely because of its support for many features and its very minimalistic design, which is really, really not bad. Okay, so that concludes our end of the unboxing of the Cooler Master Masterbox NR400 case. Like this video if you liked it, subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so yet. I'm Chester, that's all for today. See you guys.